Okay, so we're continuing on from part 1 of looking at content on the Resident Evil 2 demo disk, SLUS 9009. And I'm looking at the BSS files that are on the disk, which contain 1.5 content and some early Resident Evil 2 content, and a lot of like raw stuff and some test rooms. So it's all pretty interesting. And we left off with room 509, which was a test room, and 508 is basically the same thing, so I loaded in room 507 now, so we'll take a look at that. And this seems to be part of the lab, and this is 1.5. And this is the thing I was talking earlier with. This might be a different section of the lab, but there was I think in one of the earlier images I looked at that was like a part of the lab. It looked very similar to this, except more close to the visual style of Resident Evil 2, like the final version. So I'm not sure if this is just a different part of the lab that has a completely different look to it. I think I remember coming across this when I was playing through 1.5, so I don't know if this is supposed to be the same room that I was looking at, or the same lab hallways, just differently styled, or like for 1.5, or I don't know, an earlier version of it, or if this is just a different part of the lab and it just has a different look to it. I'm not very sure. This says B2, so, and I don't remember the other one being labeled. This one says shelter, so it might actually be a different part of the lab. And then you see we have blood spatter here, and a door going to the shelter room, which I'm not sure if I've come across the background image for that yet. And then another room going to a shelter room, so. Okay, this is... So, this is from 1.5, and if you remember the final version of Resident Evil 2, the door that goes from that main area that's got all these screens on it, going into the lab that you need to get Sherry's vaccine, this is like the same area, except this is the 1.5 version of it. So the lockers are much different. They have shutter doors on them and they're numbered. The door looks completely different. It's got a biohazard symbol on it. There's that little area that's like lit with red light that's very similar to the one in the final version of Resident Evil 2. I think this is about the same. It might be slightly different in the final version. But it has that door that slides open, and then the zombies slowly walk through. I think the labs are actually pretty much the same. I don't know if these are here. I think there might be just like other machines that are closer to the wall in the final version. I'm not sure what these are. Oh, these are I'm not sure how to describe them, but I guess there's something to work with, like sensitive materials. Maybe you would put like gloves in it. It's like a little environment to work with something that would be sensitive, I assume. Maybe a virus. So they're very small. It'd be kind of uncomfortable to like kneel down and work with that. It looks like it's for short people. And then we have the machine for the vaccine. The vaccine thing is still in 1.5, but instead of Sherry, you actually have Marvin actually sticks around for a while. And sometime through the game, he gets infected, I think with just T. I'm not sure if he gets infected with G or anything, but they have you get the vaccine for him instead. And the thing with 1.5 is it seems like, depending on your actions, you can choose to save different individuals, and they're all on the train when you leave at the end of the game. So, like I said, it's kind of like Resident Evil 1. You can do certain things to save people and get like the best ending. I'm assuming that was the intention. So this is the machine for the vaccine. Okay, this is room 505. This is also part of the labs. I don't know what room this is supposed to be. Looks like it's got a bunch of printers here. It's just like an office, I guess. There was a bunch of offices And this is 1.5, so the 1.5 lab has a bunch of different office rooms, rooms that people are staying in, like to sleep in, I guess. Medical rooms. There was a ton of that. Oh, and we have the computer here, which I assume is where you would put in the guest password instead of in the moth room like the final version of Resident Evil 2. And here we've actually got, I guess they were just testing different backgrounds to see how they look. I kind of like the way this one is. Yeah, different ones. These are pretty neat. I'm not sure if acquiring the guest password or the password for logging into the computer would have been the same in 1.5 as it is in Resident Evil 2, where you just, I guess there's a note lying around. In the plant room. See, that was 505. Another part. These are all labs. So I'm almost getting through the the 500 sets for the labs. This is another hallway. I remember, yeah, so even this has a different look. So it seems like instead of retaining the same visual style for all the hallways for the 1.5 lab, they change a lot. I guess in some way, because there's so many different sections to the lab, the different visual looks kind of clue you in on like where you're at. I mean, you have a map too, but it just kind of helps you navigate in a way. So this is level 4. So this would be towards the bottom of the lab. And this right here, this little thing here, I remember when I was playing through 1.5, the an enemy that doesn't appear in Resident Evil 2, the man spider, which is very bizarre looking, comes out of here and attacks you. I think it like it doesn't like always come out when you pass it. It seemed to like kind of wait around a little bit and it just sort of like randomly comes out. It's scripted differently. So like I think sometimes if you pass by it enough it would come out. I don't know. Okay, and this is the so I showed the destroyed version of this part of the lab, which is like the area with the screens. So this is what it looks like. I think it's definitely a little bit different. This is the 1.5 version. Resident Evil 2 has this as well. It looks a bit different though. This is like the normal version of it. I showed the version that has like the broken screens and it looks like it's got different lighting where it has like it's possible there's like fire in the area. Yeah, this definitely, it's got a lot more doors going out too. There's an elevator here. It has these like machines that might be to put discs in. Not really sure. Tons of doors that go to different places. And this is the door that goes to hangar and eventually goes to the train area. Close up on the screen. Oh, huh. Oh yeah, I came across this before. I'm not really sure. This is just, so I notice once in a while, while there be a few views in these background files that aren't used, sometimes you'll find like a test area, which this is, I don't even know what this is for. It doesn't look like any part of this room, so I could have swore though there is another BSS file that has this but has like more views to it. So I don't know, maybe this accidentally got left in here. Don't know what room it's supposed to belong to. This is, so this goes to, this is type P, so it goes to a power room, I assume. And I don't know if I came across this in 1.5. Well, at least like the version I was playing. So this is another room that's probably missing from I guess the Magic Zombie Door version 1.5. I assume you're supposed to like, it kind of looks like you're supposed to jump around the crates and get to another door. Some more view of these. Okay, yeah, I see. You're supposed to climb up here and then walk around to get to the other side here. Almost done with the labs. I think I just have one more room. So this... Now I noticed, I think you can get access to the other one, but instead of there just being one security room, I believe there's two. And when you play as Elsa, I believe she ends up getting access to the other one. But if you use the debugger to jump around, you can get to that room while playing as Leon as well. So it's stylized very different. You can see different posters on the walls, different decorations. The bed looks different too. And this is where Marvin is laying down and Ada is like there to check on him while you're getting the vaccine for, I guess, his T-virus infection. Instead of Sherry being there. Oh, here we go. I think this is the test room I was talking about. Well, there's double doors now for this. Like I said, I don't know what this belongs to. When the doors pops open. And then something that causes damage to the wall. It looks like it blocks a path here. Of course, in Resident Evil, you know, you can have like something very small on the floor and it'll completely block your path because your character is incapable of stepping over anything, even if it's smaller than their height. So, okay, this is another part of the lab. So I guess we still got a few more. This is the... Okay, I guess this is not... I guess type P just means it's... I kept thinking that means power, but, well, I mean, maybe it is, because this is the room that has the fuse in it, which is also 1.5. I think it looks kind of the same. I did notice, though, when I was playing, or looking through the rooms on 1.5, that instead of just... I mean, in the final version of Resident Evil 2, the fuse is just laying right here. And then you grab it and you just put it in. There's nothing, no thinking work or anything like that, which seems a bit silly for classic Resident Evil 2 where you jump hoops in order to get something to work. But in this, they actually had you, see, there's a keypad here. So I wonder if you had to get codes. Let's see, ARM, open... So there was something to start, a startup code. I guess this would have been way too tedious as well. So you have a startup code. You push this to operate the arm, and then you had a code to take it out. So yeah, a little tedious, but it would have made you do more work in order to get the fuse. Like you're supposed to get the fuse and use the robot arm to put it in a case here. And then take it to that the main shaft so you can turn on the power for the labs. Okay. This is... Okay, it just looks like the one I looked at way earlier. This is a 1.5 lab area. But this looks, more finished like Resident Evil 2. Like, as the visual style of Resident Evil 2's lab. Same door, same outside area and everything. So this is something that definitely, I'm glad they changed in Resident Evil 2, because this is, I don't know if there's supposed to be more of this, but this is basically the, the ladder you take down to get to the labs, where normally in Resident Evil 2 you have, this is that area that has like the huge plant thing. There's like the little, pods that probably, spawn the little, ivies, the ivy enemies. And, this is just like a darkened area. It's so plain looking. I'm glad they didn't use this. These are the rooms that so they have restrooms, not bathrooms, but rooms to rest in. Now the remake of Resident Evil 2 actually has, well, they're a bit different, the things they have for people to sleep in. In Resident Evil 2, there is one room, the room with like the BOW gas, and then you burn the plant to go to the next room. But the things that they sleep on are more like built into the wall, which look pretty cool. Like, I would probably sleep in those, but these are like more, you know, traditional beds. They don't look very comfy. These are ugly rooms too. They're just not good looking at all. Not a lot of detail in them, but they're probably like not really finished. But yeah, these are rooms that the scientists would stay in, I assume. I think the other ones I'm going to look at, because there's actually a couple, and these are, they're from 1.5, so there's a few of them you go into. Yeah, more of these. This might have been for the janitor, maybe? Yeah, they're very messy. More just terribly plain, rooms for the scientists to stay in. What an uncomfortable living, though. And here we have just more, this actually this is in 1.5, I believe, but, with the visual style of Resident Evil 2's lab, just more corridors. That game had a lot of corridors and a lot of hallways for the lab. The lab in original Resident Evil 2 is pretty short, and they did add quite a bit in the remake. But the 1.5 lab, so this looks similar to one I've already looked at, basically. I don't know if it's like different visually. There's some changes. I have no idea. And here is 1.5's shaft. But it's missing, I believe there's supposed to be something here to put the fuse in. Instead of having open doors that lead out to the different areas in the lab, these are closed, so seems a lot more claustrophobic. I think the little bridges that lead out to the different areas are shorter in 1.5 as well. This is just an elevator, and that's it. There's no other views. An unfinished elevator. I think when I played 1.5, you had to use the debugger to get into the elevator because they're not usable. They don't do anything. But the one I went into actually had the textures for it, so this is like an unfinished elevator. I don't know if it's probably for the labs. There's actually quite a few big elevators in the lab and the underground and RPD. The great thing though is that because the elevators didn't work, you could still use the stairs. Here we have another view of the main shaft. I don't think there's anything different. Which I noticed the side stairs. I don't remember if I don't think 1.5 has the side stairs, but in the remake, okay, I'm going backwards. That's what's happening here. So we're all at the 401. I can't pay attention while I'm rambling. Let's see, room 401, but the remake actually has some side stairs. Here's the other security room. I don't know if, when you're playing as Elsa, if you have anyone in here that you're supposed to be taking care of. Maybe Sherry, but I mean, Sherry's whole background story is completely different in 1.5, so I don't really know if she gets infected with T or G or what it is. Because she isn't... I mean, the thing is, she isn't even related to Annette or William Birkin. So the whole thing with G would have been completely different. Because, like, G is supposed to infect or try to reproduce using, you know, next of blood. So, your relatives, basically. And she wasn't related to them. So, I don't know what sort of plot they had for her. Or if the attributes of G and 1.5 were even the same. And this is the outside area. So instead of the turntable, which is like the turntable train thing is such an iconic thing. It's such an amazing thing from the final version of Resident Evil 2. Like, as it, you know, it goes down and then you have like the fight in the middle of it while you're going down to the lab. And this is just like a little elevator. When I was playing as Leon, I think there's like a factory or a maintenance area you go through, and then you take the this thing up with Marvin and Ada, and I guess they go to... Okay, here's like a little door that goes out. I think this goes to the main shaft that needs to fuse. But yeah, they put Marvin in the security room. Very, very different look. Similar layout. I'm gonna see if I can get through the 300s, and then I'll probably have to stop for a third part. This is 1.5. But I don't know. Like I said, RPD is huge. This is like one of the levels in the RPD. I just don't remember what is in this area though. It's just on one of the floors. I mean, the great thing is since the elevators didn't work in the original 1.5 I played, there's these stairs. Very much like they remind me of like Silent Hills. Silent Hills had buildings that have like side stairs that you use to get through the different areas, and this kind of has the same thing. Definitely an older part of the building, considering, like, I'm sure some of that is not just from outbreak damage, like from zombies and stuff. This looks like it's old and hasn't been taken care of at all. Like the paint is, there's like paint and wetness and rust and everything. And here is, I believe 1.5 doesn't even have, because like, this is the underground area that goes to Iron's little special torture room, taxidermy room. But Iron's role is completely different in 1.5. I know when I was playing it, you kind of, when you play as Leon, you kind of come across him pretty early. And I think he's sort of in Iron's role. Not Iron's. He's in Marvin's role in a way, because you come across him first and he seems like he's injured. He's like laying down. It's like this little office that has like a really cool diorama of Raccoon City. And it has like a little thing that comes up that you're supposed to put a key in. So it's kind of a puzzle. But he's laying down on like this bench or couch or whatever because he's injured. So he probably maybe becomes a zombie later, much in the style of like Marvin in the final version of Resident Evil 2. But this is definitely not 1.5. So this is from a final version of Resident Evil 2. Just missing the torches. Yes, this is a 1.5 area. This is where, I'm trying to think where you come down here. Such a huge area. It's funny because it's very similar to, the area that you fight, Birkenhead in the Resident Evil 2 remake. It's like kind of an open area. There's like a lot of obstacles in the way to run around. But you do, I believe you fight the 1.5 version of Birkin here, because he shows up, I believe he shows up when you're trying to get near the door, and there's like a big pipe piece right here that he grabs and probably tries to attack you with. But definitely, I think the remake of Resident Evil 2 kind of took a little bit from this for that first Birkin fight. Oh, this is the... So this is the, like, back in the first part of this, I guess, video series I'm doing. This is the outside area I was talking about, where you eventually find a manhole you're supposed to go into. Well, it's part of it. This is, like, the other side of it, I think. So, like, here, you go through here, and there's an area that's got, like, cop cars, and then Marvin and Ada are sort of waiting for you, and there's, like, a manhole. You would go down to the sewers with them. This area does look pretty neat, though. This probably leads to, like, an older part of the RPD, because this area looks old. Like, it hasn't been... It's got, like, plants overgrowing and everything like that. Maybe it goes to, like, the maintenance parts of the RPD. And a vent. I don't know what that's for. Sherry, I think even when you're going through 1.5 as Leon, you occasionally see Sherry running around, like, going through, like, vents and, like, little areas that she can get into. So maybe it's supposed to give you a clue of where to go next? I don't know. In a control room of some sort, looks like. Oh, server room? Maybe? Kind of looks like a server room. Or a power room for the RPD. Oh, well, there's a heliport on the RPD, so maybe some of these would be to direct the like any air like air vehicles and stuff. And it looks like it might be a server room as well. And power room. So it's for multiple things. And then we have another computer. Okay, this looks like it leads up to... this is something I don't know if I've come across in 1.5. It's probably a 1.5 area. It looks like it should lead to that previous room I just looked at. These sort of look like, like small vehicles or some kind of cart or something is supposed to come along here. Or maybe it's like a little factory of some sort. For, making parts. Weird. Oh, maybe, I don't know if these are supposed to be for ammunition. Yeah, I have no idea what this is for. So this is also 1.5 area, but... So there is like, so I think this is... The previous thing I looked at too is probably part of the factory. You can sort of you can get access to this hallway, but the door leading out to another room is locked. So, I had to use the debugger to jump around. I believe this is like the 1.5 version of that one, I guess after you get out of the sewers, when you're, when you use that little, thing to clear, I guess, the steam that's in front of the door that goes to the factory, like when you use the wolf and the eagle medallion. I believe this is kind of similar to it. That little path that leads to the factory. Okay, and this is another, this actually goes to, like I said, it looked like there was 2 lobbies when I was using the debugger to jump around 1.5. So this looks like another, I believe this goes to another side of the RPD that also has sort of a lobby-ish looking area in it. I do recall when I was playing it, though, there was like tons of like bodies. That's why there's blood spots here. There's tons of like police bodies, like police officers laying around, and you're like talking to Marvin and Ada, and I guess Ada like kind of runs off, and Marvin's like, you know, she doesn't seem like she's really affected by this. I don't understand her or anything, even though she seems like she's very mission oriented. So she's like, you know, she's a scientist, so she's like trying to figure out things much in the way of a net and figure out how to get to the lab and everything like that. I don't know. I don't know if she has the whole like spy thing or if she betrays you towards the end like the Ada in the final version of Resident Evil 2. So, but she definitely helps you. Like she sticks around with Marvin, and all of you like end up going to the lab and working together. Oh, that's a lot of blood. Tons of blood. So there's a slaughter here. I actually don't know what happened here. Maybe it's actually from the 1.5 version of G. Maybe that's why there's a bunch of bodies here. So almost done with the 300s, and then I'll probably stop and then finish the rest of the sets. Now this is an interesting, I looked at this before, but this is the Resident Evil 2 jail area, because the one in 1.5 is a lot bigger. It's actually kind of like the Resident Evil 2 remake, I think, took the concept from 1.5 and used it for the jail in that game. Because this one's definitely a lot much smaller. You only have like 2 cells here, which is where you meet Ben. And you notice there's supposed to be a shelf here, which is missing. And there's like different views, but I noticed when I was going through the views, there's actually a different version of the cells. Let's see if I can get to it here. Like, you notice the visual style changes a bit. And here we have an extra door. So I think maybe this is an earlier version of that area with the jail cells. Oh, the prison cells. And maybe you would come through here instead of that side gate or whatever it is. So the gate's still there. But yeah, extra door. And then this is a unfinished version of Aaron's taxidermy room. It's missing a lot of stuff. It looks like it has some test, maybe some placeholder objects for where the shelves are supposed to go. And then the area you go down to fight whichever boss, Birkin or the G creature. Okay, I think I'll take a look at a few more here. Let's see, this is 219 I'm going to load in. There's some weird stuff I saw. I don't know if I'm going to come across it just yet, but there was some weird stuff involving Iron's office that are, I think, involve some placeholders with some characters that are normally not in the office, and it looked pretty interesting. So I don't know if I'll come across that yet. I think it's like up in the 100s, but it's pretty interesting. Basement area from Resident Evil 2. Doesn't look different. Oh. Well, we got some test areas here. This actually looks like the, so In 1.5, they actually have a shooting area, like I guess a shooting gallery or whatever, or training area for shooting, and they actually put that in Resident Evil 2 Remake, and it's in the basement area. So I think that's what this is supposed to be. Maybe they originally intended to put the shooting area in the final version of Resident Evil 2, but never got around it. I don't know. So I noticed, there's a few rooms like this, but I noticed, I'm missing room 218, so we're going to room 217. Oh, yeah, a test version. So this looks like... It looks like a cross between 1.5's parking area and Resident Evil 2's parking area. Because I don't remember this side area here. And here we have like a placeholder character. I think this is a van, but like even the car placement is different. A bunch of placeholder objects for cars. But the layout seems closer to Resident Evil 2's. And here we have the finished garage from Resident Evil 2. Big difference. Definitely. Okay, so they're actually... Maybe I never noticed this before when playing Resident Evil 2, but you have the area that's actually going up outside Raccoon City. But you never really do anything? Like, you never actually go outside. In Resident Evil 2 Remake, the parking garage looks different. And you actually do go outside of Raccoon City through the little gate here, which is in the remake. It's actually more in the front of the garage, and then the door placement is different. Their garage might not garage. Their parking lot might actually be closer to 1.5's because 1.5's is much bigger, and the cars are actually like scattered around, and some of them are like damaged. So I guess they took some more ideas from 1.5 for that. Oh, and we have an ooh, this looks like a garage actually right here, because looks like we've got some toolboxes and stuff. So maybe they originally intended for you to go into a garage. In 1.5 there actually is a car garage, but I don't think it's connected to the parking lot at all. Yeah, because you even have the thing for cars to be placed on to work on them here, so... Alright, one more, and I'll take a break for a third part. It's gonna load in. Actually, since I have 216 loaded, Gnosis, I've been looking through the RDT files on Gnosis to see if there's anything in them, and a few of them have some stuff here. It's not a lot though. Like this. Let's see if I can switch to it. I can't really zoom on it too well with Gnosis, but this looks like an area above the door, one of the doors. And I think there might be... Okay, that's nothing. So the only thing we have is just this thing here. Looks like an unfinished background texture of some sort. Okay, so room... Let's see what we have here. Room 215. And this is the I want to say morgue, but I'm sure it has a different name. Autopsy room. This looks like Resident Evil 2's. but it seems a bit bigger. So I don't remember the room being as big as this, but maybe my memory's bad, I don't know. Okay, one more since we've already seen that. It's nothing new. Oh, and this too. This is just part of Resident Evil 2. Was this the Armory Room or something? It's got the guns in it and extra ammo and all that. Yep. Power room. Or generator room. The one in the 1.5 is definitely different. It's a very large area. And there's like a couple doors and an elevator. Oh, here's some unfinished versions of the... Oh, in the test area, it looks like. I think Resident Evil 2 Remake also took the thing from 1.5 for the generator room. Because in the final version of Resident Evil 2, there aren't any dogs or anything in it. And it's like a small area. Remakes is definitely... bigger. And there's like dog cages in the room too. Okay, I think I'll stop here, but I've still got a lot of interesting things to show. There's still like let's see how much we have here. I have the 100. I've got to finish the 200 set. I'll get through the 100 set, and then there's some lower numbers here. I'm not sure what they're to. There's some 1.5 stuff in that, so still a lot of interesting things to look at.